YouTube, what is going on? Welcome to another video. You would have seen by the title of the video that I'm about to run you through my current leg day, my full leg day. So I'm gonna voice over, you're gonna watch, and I'm gonna talk you through why I do things, why I don't do things, why I think certain things make sense, reps, sets, you name it. Grab yourself a cup of tea. Have a look at that color though. If there's anything less than that, I don't want to hear it. Grab yourself a cup of tea, come and sit down with me and let's chill and let's talk. So I've left a large clip at the start of this video of me stretching. It's not particularly great viewing. I don't think I look does anyone look attractive while they're stretching? It looks a bit uncomfortable. Look at the face on that. But I think it's really important. One thing that I preach quite a lot on my Instagram, if you don't follow my Instagram, go and drop me a follow in my bio, is that stretching should be a part of every single one of your daily routines. I don't care how busy you are. I don't care what you have going on in your life. Find yourself 5 minutes at some point in your day to work on your mobility. Because trust me, you may not realize it now, but when you get older, you will be thankful. Trust me. But you'll see me doing it at the start of every leg day regardless, and specifically when I'm tight, just to kind of, first of all, get my mind right, get my brain into what I'm about to get into, and just kind of flip a switch. You know, leg day is one of those days where it takes everything. It literally takes everything from me. I don't look forward to them. I find them incredibly challenging, physically and mentally. And you may be watching this thinking, Regan, you know, man up a bit. It's just a workout. And yes, it is just a workout, but I find leg day is just the most demanding day for me, you know, psychologically. I find every movement very, very difficult. And that's largely because of my own doing. You know, I push myself to the point where I am struggling. But that's how I want it to be. You know, I want to challenge myself. I want to get myself out of my comfort zone. So I always start with a little bit of cardio to warm me up, nothing crazy. I'm talking 5 minutes on a bike, 5 minutes on a treadmill. Blood flow, that's my thought process. I'm thinking, let's get the engine going. And then I'm into some dynamic stretching. Some static stretching. Now you could make a case for dynamic stretching, which is why I said dynamic. So, you know, some movement in there. For me, I prefer static. It works better for me. My body feels ready at the end of my static stretching. Whereas you watching this may find more benefit in dynamic stretching. So some lunges, some hip mobility work, up and down the astro that you can see here. You know, largely what the athletes in today's world do. But like I said, my preference is static, so that's what I go with. So today's leg day is a reasonably bulky one, at least for me. I used to run 2 leg days. At the minute, I'm only running 1, and that's because in my 4-day split, it just fits better. I find that when I put 2 leg days into a 4-day split, my upper gets neglected. And if I'm being honest with you, my lower body responds fine to 1 day. Now, if you are someone who really struggles to grow their legs, really finds it difficult to see a change, more is always going to be better. And that's not excess useless volume, that's frequency. So get yourself in the gym, training your legs twice a week is probably my preference. Cut your posterior and your the front of your body up. So one day hit your glutes and hamstrings. On another day hit your quads, adductors. It's up to you how you chop it up. But that's what I used to do and it works really well. But for me now, 1 leg day is all I'm running. So like I said, we'll start with a nice warm up, and in a minute you're gonna see me go into my core work because again, I want my core to be ready and engaged when I go do my big movements. Just a quick caveat before you see me do any sort of workout here. My clips are quite short because I was worried about my battery. So the longest clip is me stretching, but it's still relevant. You should still watch it. But my actual exercises are between 1 minute to 2 minutes. And for me, it's a little bit short, but I wanted to get the whole workout done without the battery dying. So if you're wondering why, that's why. So let me not say no more and let me dive straight into my abs. I'll cut off the rest of the stretching because I understand you're probably getting a bit bored, but let's dive straight in, okay? So what you'll see here is me opening up with some oblique work. So I don't actually know what this contraption's called, but I've been putting it in on every leg day to train my obliques. So it's a bit of a side crunch, I believe that's what it's called. It's a nasty exercise, really, really painful, but in the best way. Like the DOMs I get from this is absolutely ridiculous. But we're looking at flexion and then shortening, which is exactly what I get here. Make sure as well when you do these that if you've got a strong side, start on the weak side, because it's likely that your weak side might not be able to match that strong side. So I always start on my weaker side. So let's get straight into the leg work. Okay, so here we have our adductors, all right? And you've seen me talk about adductors before on this channel. You've seen me talk about adductors on my Instagram. I think it's the most underrated and slept on muscle for physique development in your legs. I specifically see guys really undertraining their adductors. If I'm honest with you, I think guys look at this machine and think, that's a female machine. And that's not me stereotyping personally. That's from conversations in the gym with gym goers. I say, how do you train your legs? I do this, I do that. What about your adductors? They say, what's that? I say, it's that machine over there. They say, oh no, I can't use that. I say, why? They say, oh no, that's the female machine. That's for the ladies, because I think because you can train your glutes on it as well. I think there's this stereotype that men don't touch this machine, but genuinely, this is the most underrated muscle to make your legs appear fuller. So men, if you're watching this, ladies also, if you're watching this and you don't train your adductors, please train it. Regardless of the aesthetics of it, obviously you're getting all the other additional benefits as well. It's a large muscle. It helps stabilize your hips. It will aid you when you do your big movements, okay? Specifically your squats, specifically your leg press. So please take it seriously. All right, from here, we are stretching over to our leg extensions, okay? So again, we're focusing on getting our knee joints ready. Before I do anything large in the gym, so when I say large, I mean a leg press, I mean a squat, I mean a hip hinge. My focus is priming, and you'll see me do quite a few isolation movements before that. Now, this is just my methodology. There'll be people watching this that will disagree with that, and you're entitled to your opinion. This is what works for me. This is what works for a lot of my clients. I'm looking at training for longevity, so I want things to be nice and prepped, ready, and engaged before I go and put myself under 130 kilos on a bar. Regardless of that, it also allows me to then use less load. So because my legs are already pre-fatigued, I guess is a good way of putting it, is the term that I hear people throw around. It means that I can go and squat with less weight. Now, you might be thinking, why would you want to do that? Because my idea is to get more out of less. I want to be able to maximize the load that I'm using with as little load as possible. So for reference on these two sets, I do 2 working sets, an 8 to 12 rep range on the first one, and then a 10 to 15 on the second one, with a couple of warm-up sets in there. But I'm not going to bore you with the warm-up sets. They are down to you to decide what you want to do with your warm-up sets. Some people need more, some people need less. For me, 1 or 2 is good. 1 or 2 is good, depending on how I feel. But all my isolation work will usually be in the 8 to 12 rep range. And my back off sets, so my second set or my lighter set, however you want to put it, will typically be in the 10 to 15 rep range, so slightly higher, okay? Because this just allows me to connect with them. They're isolation movements, so we want to isolate the muscle down. When you start using heavier load, 6 reps, 7 reps on leg extension, if I'm honest with you, you're probably just shifting the weight rather than contracting it, and that's just my opinion. So yeah, here's me doing a seated hamstring curl. Always my preference over a lying hamstring curl. Don't stress about, what's better. Find what you prefer. Yes, you're going to have different biases in different ranges, the shortened and the lengthened. What's better for hamstring growth? I'll let you guys go and do your own research on that. For me, I'm going to pick a movement I enjoy. I'm going to pick a movement that I connect well with. And the seated hamstring curl is that movement. I work better on it than the lying. And from experience, most of my clients do as well. So if you haven't given the seated hamstring curl a go, give it a go. Also, all of these sets are to failure, no reps in reserve at this point in the workout. So most of the time I'm failing at the top of the movement because I physically can't move it anymore. So I've done 3 isolations and now I'm moving into my bigger movement. So this is my top set on my by my squat. My preference of squat at the minute is a Smith machine squat. It's been my preference for a little while now, and I really like it. I really like the stability I get. And also, this is me just saying, listen to this girl was, I think her boyfriend told her, you walk in front of the camera. Guys, if someone walks in front of your camera, you're the problem. Remember that. But back to what I was saying, the Smith machine squat, I find really, really good for me because I get a great amount of stability, but it also challenges me in a tremendous way. I truly despise this set that you're watching right now. I get taken to an absolute different place in my mind. I hate it. I struggle so much with it, that to the point where I despise it. And you might be thinking, well, why not change it? Well, because it works for me. I progress it, and it like I said, I want to be challenged in the gym. I don't want to come in and just be comfortable. I want to enjoy my movements, but I want to be challenged. So you'll see I raise my heels up. This is to, again, allow for greater knee flexion, help my ankle mobility, help my hips as well. Going down, and I'm focusing on keeping my chest nice and upright. You'll see my posture is really important, and I'm really focusing on driving my abs. And that might not make sense, but what I want you to think about is, imagine someone's gonna come and just jab you in your ribs. You know, that's what I'm thinking about. At the top of every movement, I'm taking a big deep breath and I'm bracing for my life. I'm truly bracing for my life, because when I hit that bottom there, I need it to be tight. I have to be tight, because otherwise this boy's not moving back up. This is heavy. On my back, this is heavy. And you'll probably notice, you know, maybe that wasn't true failure. But on a movement like this, I like to leave maybe one rep in the tank, maybe half a rep in the tank, just because risk to reward, it's not really worth me taking that extra yard. That's just my opinion. Okay, maybe on a pendulum I might do. On a Smith machine squat, I'm not gonna. Also, shout out Ben. Look at this guy in the background, looking ridiculous, by the way. He kept an eye on me on this set. I think he was just waiting for the Smith machine. But he kept an eye on me. I didn't ask him to, but that's just when you're around the right people, everyone wants to see you do well. Everyone pushes each other. So shout out Ben, man, he's my guy. But this is 135 kilos on the bar. This is my only hip hinge of the day. So obviously we're prioritizing that posterior chain here. And this has been going really well for me. You know, as I lose weight, this becomes tougher, natural. But one thing, again, I bang on about on my Instagram is you cannot fall into the trap of, okay, I'm losing weight, so I'm going to be weaker. No, I'm losing weight, but I'm maintaining my strength, because what built my muscle in the first place is going to keep my muscle. I really want you guys to think about that. What built your muscle in the first place is what's going to keep it, okay? Now, there will come a time where maybe you have to adjust the load, but you want to push that off for as long as possible. So I think I got like 7 reps here, 7, maybe 8. I can't remember. I'll let you guys count for me. And again, I'm really focusing on that core engagement. You'll see me, look, watch me at the top of every movement. I'm taking a deep breath like my life depends on it, okay? And I'm packing my lungs up with air. I'm packing my core up with air. And then I'm going down. And I'm taking my time every rep. The last thing you want to do on a movement like this, when I've got 135 kilos in my hands, is rush it. Okay, you take your damn time, because if one thing goes wrong here, it's all going wrong. I'm going to tell you that now. If one thing goes wrong, it's all going wrong. And before you know it, back's gone. Okay, I know one of you watching this, at least one of you watching this, has hurt their back on a deadlift or a hip hinge. It's because you're not executing it properly. It's not because it's a dangerous movement. It's not because it's not worth your time. It's because you're not executing it properly. I used to do this exercise belted up. Now I use the same weight without a belt, because I've learned how to engage my core. So guys, please, if you take anything from me, if you watch any of my videos, please learn how to engage that core properly, and you will never have a problem in your life. You'll have a problem in your life, but you hopefully will never have a back problem in your life. Sorry, I've been yapping. I've got to have a cup of tea. Hold on. 15 minutes straight of me talking. Well, I appreciate you guys if you're still listening and you're still with me. We're almost at the end of the workout, so stay with me. We've got a physique update coming at the end as well. So now I'm looking at my leg press, okay? Now, if you followed me for a while, again, I keep saying that, but if you have followed me for a while, leg press has been a problem for me for a couple of years. I had a back problem a couple of years back. Funny I say back problem, I was just talking about that. I had a back problem a couple of years back, addressed it, and it kept getting upset by the leg press. Now, the problem was I was getting very deep into it, where I was getting a little bit of rounding at the bottom. So for me to get back into the leg press, it's requiring a lot of psychological input. I'm having to really switch my brain on and kind of look past it, because I'll be honest with you, I get under the leg press and I worry, because I'm worrying that I'm gonna upset my back. Every rep I'm thinking about my back, and it's hard, I'm struggling with it. But I'm persevering. I don't wanna just stop, I don't wanna give up. I want to get past it, but it's just taking a long time. So you'll see here, I'm kind of sticking to a fixed rep range of about 8 or 9. I'm working hard, I'm not failing, I'm not really going anywhere near failure, I don't think. Again, purely because from a psychological aspect, I find it difficult to look past possibly hurting myself. So you'll see there, I'm not tapping out, I'm just limiting myself. And it's not what I want to do. I don't want to do it forever, but I think until I've got more confidence on this exercise, I'm going to stick with that, because that's what's working for me. Guys, confidence on an exercise it's as important as anything else. You know, you want to go into your movements feeling good, feeling strong, feeling like you know you're going to be able to do it. And at the minute, I don't have that on the leg press. So it's reflected in the weight, and it's reflected in my performance as well, because you're seeing that I'm stopping at around 8 reps. Again, not what I want to do, but we are where we are. So then we are moving over to my glute drive. Now, this is a new movement back in for me. It's a movement that I've done in the past, and it's a movement that I've taken out recently purely because I was just struggling to fit everything into my leg day. But it's now back in. I've swapped it out for lunges. And it's a movement I thoroughly enjoy. I'm quite strong through my posterior, so I haven't been on this machine for a long time, and I'm close to getting sort of what, 5-6 plates on this, and I connect really well with it. My glutes really engage quite well at the top of the movement. It's just a bit of a hassle kind of setting this particular machine up and getting out of it. So, but another movement that I think men probably neglect, and that is your glutes, and that is hip hinging, hip thrusting. So whether it's, you know, with a barbell, or whether it's on a machine like this, you know, possibly a glute drive, possibly a hip thrust machine of some description, I think is super important, because I think a lot of problems come from weak glutes, weak hamstrings. And when you start going down that road and they become a problem, guess what else becomes a problem? Your back. So try and avoid neglecting your glute work. Try and find some space. If it's not maybe a glute drive or hip thrust, put some abduction in there. Just something to get your glutes moving and get your glutes growing strong. So again, rep ranges here on the bigger movements. So my squats and my RDLs, shorter rep ranges. And again, another short rep range here on my top set, before going into a back off set of some higher reps, which I haven't filmed because again, I was worried about my battery. So you see here, I kind of failed at the bottom. And this is what I mean. It's quite laughable actually, me trying to get out of this. But it's quite a tough movement to kind of re-rack, and anyone who's used this machine will kind of know what I mean. But that's the workout. That's all my exercises. I thought I'd leave a little clip in at the end of me just, well, embarrassingly checking out what my legs look like. I have no idea how to pose, guys. I just know how to just tense my legs and just show it to the camera. So this is me checking my legs. They're not bad. I think they're okay. For one leg day a week, I'm pretty happy. But guys, I'm gonna sign it out there. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit me a like, hit me subscribe. I truly appreciate it. It goes further than you think. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one.